Lancaster and Chester Railway Company was built in the late 1800s. Around 1896, it was bought by the Springs family, which created Springs Cotton Mills. It's been owned by the same family and the same corporate ownership since 1896. The railroad wanted a car that they could do some entertaining on. So in spite of having all these freight cars, they invested in a passenger car. And they use it very much like a rolling chamber of commerce. They use it to entertain potential business customers and try to influence industry to come to the area. While they may not always be using the car, sometimes they will allow the car to be chartered by other individuals who would like to experience private car travel. Since we are here maintaining that private car, the company has also allowed us to expand a little bit by trying to work for others on their private cars, or actually building custom private railway cars. Well, these cars are around 50 years old, so they have an awful lot of things that need to be done. We usually strip out the interiors right away, and we disassemble as much of the suspension and the running gear as we can to check for any hidden defects in the major structural components. We take all of these things apart, essentially piece by piece. We have to sandblast all the springs, all the wheel sets, all the structural components of the trucks to check for any flaws. If there are no flaws, then we simply prime them, paint them, and reassemble them. Obviously, after 50 years, there's a lot of things that do need to be renewed and rebuilt. We'll reassemble the running gear. We'll put on entirely new air conditioning system, new heating system, new electrical. Cars are much more luxurious today than they've ever been, so the interiors are completely new. The car that we're in right now has got all new mahogany and maple woodwork. The cars that people travel in today are far more luxurious than what, say, the early ships that came across the Atlantic were like. Ocean liners are very luxurious now. People expect a higher standard. So the car, although it's 50 years old, looks quite modern and has been completely rejuvenated. We've been working on this one for about 15 months. They typically take anywhere from 12 months to 2 years to do. The cost can range anywhere from several $100,000 to several million. Railroad car is a little like a house, but it's almost like a living thing because it has so many subsystems that are working on it throughout the car. Amtrak requires that we meet certain running gear standards, and the railroads are governed by an agency called the Federal Railway Administration, called the FRA for short. And the FRA comes in and they mandate that our windows must be essentially bulletproof windows, that we have a certain number of emergency features, we have escapes, we have first aid kits, we have a great variety of things that they will inspect before they allow us to actually get out on the road and travel on their railroads. The last thing that we'll do is we'll take it out on an Amtrak run. This car, for example, will run from Charlotte, North Carolina to Washington, D.C. over a weekend. And that will allow us to gradually take it up to speeds of 55, 60, and then up to 80 miles an hour on this particular trip. We'll be monitoring the new wheel sets, the new bearings, making sure that they're behaving properly, that the air brakes are behaving properly. And that's simple things like, are all the kitchen appliances up to snuff, and are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Well, I think the thing that I like about rail travel the most is the fact that it's always an adventure. The rails are leading me somewhere. When I look at the tracks right here in Lancaster, they are connected to the tracks in New York City, Vancouver, British Columbia, LA, and those tracks can carry me there. Whether I'm watching the thunder clouds roll in over a New Mexico desert or running along the forests of South Carolina, there's just so much to see, and I can't think of a better way to see it.